Hey you guys, Beth Bersada here, and we are going to just try to get through this tag today. I have been struggling with things like this lately. Apparently I just can't talk. So, today we are going to do the horror movies, oh my goodness, horror movie tag. See, it's already started. And I wasn't technically tagged or anything. Like, she didn't tag people, she just wanted everyone to do it. But I saw My Mechanical Bride do it, and if Miranda does it, I want to do it too. So, it is, how many questions? Let's see, 18 questions. So we're just going to jump right in. For those of you who don't know, horror films have always been my favorite. You'll obviously get more information about it, but yeah, always been my favorite ever since I was like a little kid. Like, growing up, my favorite movie was like The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I know that's like every single person my age, but yeah, I was a weirdo. So the first question is, what is your favorite scary movie? So I really struggled with this. I was like, wow, can I like do like by category, and I don't think I can. So looking at all the ones that I was debating picking, I would have to either pick The Shining or Poltergeist, because those are the ones I watched the absolute most in my life and over the years. And if I like had to pick like any horror film to watch right now, it would probably be one of those. So we'll say one of those will be my favorite, and probably Poltergeist, just because Shining is so long. But if I just need it for like background noise, absolutely Shining. So red rum. Number 2, who is your favorite scream queen? Jamie Lee Curtis, hands down. I actually have had reoccurring nightmares since I was a little kid about Michael Myers. So Jamie Lee Curtis is like the bee's knees to me, because, you know, she always fights back. She doesn't just like let Michael kill her. So yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis would be my favorite scream queen. Number 3, what type of horror film do you like? So this was really again hard for me, because there isn't like any one type of horror film that I like. I will say, like, all through college and high school, I would have to have said that like J-horror, Japanese horror, was my favorite. But more lately, it's definitely been more of the gore category. I love a good, like, just nasty horror film. I love blood and guts and gore and stuff, so stuff like that doesn't gross me out at all. So that would have to be probably my favorite. What type of horror film do you not like? And anybody who knows me already knows the answer to this. It is zombies. I have an actual phobia to zombies. Like, straight out, like, stay awake with panic attacks, because oh my god, I don't have enough canned food in the cabinet or any bottled water, so if the zombie apocalypse happens, I don't have any supplies. So I just don't watch zombie films, otherwise I have nightmares for a while and like panic attacks. It's dumb. It's really dumb. I can do Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is funny. I can do basically zombie movies where they don't run. If the zombies run, I'm out. I can't do it. If you were a scream queen, who would you be? So I would actually not be Jamie Lee Curtis, even though she's my favorite scream queen. I would be Baby, because I love Baby. I love the way they wrote that character. I know that Rob Zombie specifically wrote that character for his wife, so he put a lot of love into that character, and it really shows. She's a really interesting character. I will say, Devil's Rejects, she wasn't as badass as she was in House of a Thousand Corpses, but it happens. Who is your favorite horror villain and why? I had to pick Freddy Krueger, because he is a sick motherfucker. Oh my god. So, like, depending on which of the, like, Nightmare on Elm Street movies you're talking about, things like that, like, there are all these different, and, like, in the different fanfics and things like that, there are a lot of different, like, backstories for Freddy. A lot of them were that, you know, Freddy Krueger was killing kids, Freddy Krueger was kidnapping people, and then in some of the newer stories it was that Freddy Krueger, because you have to increase the shock value because we're sick people now, and in the newer films it was that he was actually a child molester, and so the parents burnt him alive. So just in general, he's a really well evolved character and just very disgusting. Like, and you can't get away from Freddy Krueger. Like, you have to sleep sooner or later. So, I don't know, I don't know, I've always liked a Freddy Krueger movie since I was little, and I love that he's just such a, like, well-developed, disgusting character. I almost said human being. I guess he's not really, he's more of a ghoul. Who is the worst horror villain and why? Ghostface from Scream. I'm sorry, I just don't find that character scary. Like, first of all, it's not really anything supernatural, it's like a human in a costume. B, if it wasn't for it being like a teeny bopper type of film, somebody would just turn around and stab the guy or at least fight him. Like, I don't know. I just don't find that character scary at all because they always have the characters making stupid decisions that I would never make. So I'm like, I'm not even scared of this. First of all, I wouldn't go upstairs. And second of all, I would just shoot him. Done. What is the worst horror film you've seen and why? I am really sad to say this, but it's Witches of Salem. That movie was just awful. And, like, I have so much love for Rob Zombie and so much love for Sherry Moon Zombie. Like, it was just awful. Like, the story just drug on forever. It didn't really have any development. And then when it finally did something, I was just kind of like, what the hell did I just watch? So I watched it twice. I started it one time and I started it actually a long time ago and I was watching it with a friend and they were like, what the fuck are we watching? And I was like, I don't know, we'll turn it off. So I tried to watch it again the next day. I finished it. I watched it all the way through from start to end and then I ended up just putting it back in Redbox and just basically being like, what the fuck did I just watch? So, and it wasn't like a, oh, what the fuck, like psychological thriller. It was like, I just literally did not see a point to the time I spent watching that movie, sadly. I'm sorry, Rob. Oh, God, if you ever see this, please don't hate me. Which horror film do you think is overrated? So with this one, I have a really angry answer, and it is any American remake of a foreign horror film. What makes me sick is, and not even just American remakes, just remakes in general. Most of the time, they suck. They completely ruin the original story, and when they're Americanized, they tend to completely change, like, what it was about, because generally speaking, there are a lot of, like, Japanese horror films and, like, Asian horror films that have been remade into American horror films, and when they're made in Japan, for example, there are a lot of different thrillers based off of the whole, like, technological, like, detachment that humans are making from each other, and so it's meant to be a little more psychological, but Americans just make it cheap thrills and loud noises, and it pisses me off, especially too when, like, for example, Pulse is based off of Cairo, and what made me so mad is, like, one of the reviews from a critic on that says one of the most original horror films we've seen in the last decade. It is a remake. There is nothing original about a remake. So that is my piece on that one. I get mad. We're gonna move on, because this is gonna take too long if I answer every single question like this. So, which horror film is underrated and why? So, it's sad, but also awesome that the movie I would have put for this is no longer underrated, but at the same time, I've heard that the sequels haven't been very good. I haven't watched them yet. But Hatchet. When Hatchet first came out, I was like, yes, this is it. It's old school gore, and it's the way it used to be done when, like, there was just enough character development that you, like, were interested in whoever was murdering everybody, but not enough that it was, like, trying to be an emotional train wreck. Like, it was so well done. There were boobs, there was blood, there was beheadings. It was awesome. So I would still say it's pretty underrated. It does have, it's a trilogy now, but I have not seen 2 or 3. So I need to get those. I just keep putting it off. I see them all the time at Movie Trading Co. and never pick them up. So got to do that. Do you like spoof horror films? Yes, I do, actually. I think they're hilarious. So as someone who laughs at most horror films, I like the spoof versions too. What is your favorite horror movie series? You can probably already guess this, but Nightmare on Elm Street, just because I think Freddy Krueger's a really well done villain. Name 13 horror villains. Here we go. Okay, so from the top, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Baby, Otis, Captain Spaulding. This is so silly because I'm going to end up repeating somebody. Chucky, Tiffany, who is the bride of Chucky. God, like, I feel like Sam from Trick or Treat, like, I don't even know. Like, on one hand, I wanted to write down a list, but on the other hand, I'm like, seriously, like, I'm just gonna list off people for forever. So, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know how many I've listed. Maybe 7? Jason Voorhees, Pumpkinhead, the mom from Psycho, Mrs. Bates. Norman Bates, like, it just goes on and on and on. Like, you could go classic Dracula and Mummy and all the classic Universal monsters, so it could go on for a while. Yeah. What horror scenes have grossed you out the most? Anything in Human Centipede involving splatter. Done. What is your favorite music scene in a movie? That would be the opening of Seven. It was a remix done by Nine Inch Nails, and I love Nine Inch Nails, so I remember watching that and be like, oh my god, this is the best remix ever. Megatron is sleep barking. What is your favorite horror movie soundtrack? House of a Thousand Corpses. I've actually bought it, downloaded it, all of those things several times over the years. It's a good one. Who is your horror movie crush? That would be Donnie Darko. He is a babe. And then last but not least, what horror movie character do you feel the most sympathy for? I actually picked two. The first one is Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th movies, because it's really sad. Like, I don't know. Again, it's one of those things where with how many spinoffs there are, the character is kind of constantly changing and evolving, and they're saying, oh, well, this is why he's like this. No, this is why he likes this. But, like, I remember one of the original stories shows basically him drowning as a little kid and him, like, crying out for, like, his uncle or his mom or somebody in the damn boat to help him, and nobody does, and he drowns. And I just remember being like, that poor baby. Like, if my parents or my family did that to me, I'd probably come back and kill everybody too. And then they also kind of touch on that too, and I think it's Friday the 13th, the 7th, the one where he's in Manhattan. I think that's number 7. It's when they flood the what the hell are they called? The sewers. They flood the sewers. Wow. Okay. They flood the sewers, and it keeps showing the flashback to him, like, drowning or whatever, and he's, like, crying out, and I'm like, poor Jason. He's just gonna come back and kill you anyways. Why did you even bother? So, yeah. That was one of them. And then the other one is Pumpkinhead. And Pumpkinhead used to break my heart when I was a little kid, which is hilarious because the entire point of the movie should have terrified the shit out of me. And I was like, Mommy, why are they doing this to Pumpkinhead? And she's like, seriously, kid? You're so weird. But in that one, the entire story is there is this disfigured little boy. He's essentially an orphan. His family gets rid of him. He's living in the woods, and this kind old lady who also happens to be a witch helps him out. She feeds him. She takes care of him. He doesn't live with her or anything because he's essentially like a feral child at this point. And then local kids end up bullying him and killing him, and it's so sad. And then, like, because of the witch, they are going into her cabin or whatever, like, this is blah blah years later, and they go in and they, like, find this spell to bring back Pumpkinhead to, like, do their evil doing or whatever, and they bring him back and he's killing people because he's a monster at that point. And, like, it's just so sad. Like, characters like that break my heart just because it's like, it wasn't bad enough that he, like, was disfigured and, like, a feral child that nobody loved, but then he was murdered by bullies, and then he had to come back and get murdered again because he was murdering people. Like, I'm a weirdo. Okay, so we're just gonna move forward because now everyone's probably like, what the hell is wrong with this girl? Unless you're also a weirdo, then you're like, yeah, I agree. I think anybody who wants to do this tag should do it. It is the season. For those of you who don't celebrate Halloween all year long, this is a great time to jump into the spooky fun. So this is the horror movie tag, and I saw my mechanical bride do it. I will link to her in the down bar below because Miranda is amazing and should have like a bajillion more subscribers than she does because she's very likable. So I will talk to you guys soon. If there are any other tags you want me to do, let me know. And I will see you next time.